What is up, YouTube? It has been a hot minute since I have been on here, and I thought, what better way to come back onto YouTube than to share with you an incredibly important event that's coming up in my life, and that is my hip replacement surgery that's going to happen in less than a month. What I want to share with you is my experience over the past couple years, what it's been like dealing with this, how my workouts have changed, because they've changed significantly. I've never stopped working out at all, but my workouts definitely have a much different focus right now as I'm leading up to surgery. I want to share with you my day-to-day, the stuff that you're not going to see on Instagram or Facebook, but what it's like living with this when the pain's really bad and when it's okay. And like why I have to sit like this. This is how I have to sit a lot of the time, like I am right now. I want to share with you all of that. Let's get this thing started. So the pain first started probably 5 years ago now. It's been quite a while, and it just felt like it was tight in my groin and hip flexor area, and all I wanted to do was stretch it, and it never really helped at all. So at some point I decided, enough's enough. I really wanted to get an x-ray. So finally got an x-ray, and we're gonna try to put the x-ray up here on the screen because I really want you to see it. When I first looked at this x-ray, I didn't know what I was really looking at, but how it was explained to me was if you look at the ball and the socket joint, how they fit together like this, one side you're going to see that there's very little space between the two, and then there's a little bit more space as you go around the ball. And this part where there's no space, that's the problem. That's the arthritis speaking, and it's going to continue to get like that all the way around the ball joint eventually. That's the biggest problem, that the arthritis is kind of eating away at the cushion and the cartilage that's there. And when that happens, bone spurs start to produce. Our body's like, hey, wait a minute, I got to do something to help out here. So I'm going to grow some more bone in random places. So if you really look carefully, there's a little arrow, and I hope we can zoom in on this, that's pointing to where a bone spur is for me. And if you look at my bone spur, it has a little sharp point on the end, which a doctor told me is really unusual. Most bone spurs don't look like that. Lucky me, mine does. So I have a bone spur that's causing me all kinds of grief, plus the close contact in the ball and socket joint with the arthritis. So what I learned from all of this is that, number one, arthritis does not get better. Matter of fact, the doc told me that day, he goes, this is as good as it's ever going to look. It's not going to look any better than this. And I thought, wow, that's pretty intense, right? It's going to get worse. It's about how you can manage it, if you can manage it. So we kind of tried a couple of things. I was willing to try things to extend this as much as I could. I did some PT, my movement doc locally, Dr. Matt Clay, he is absolutely amazing. He gave me a bunch of different things that I could keep trying on my hip to see how that would work. I also got an injection. And when I got the injection, and I know a lot of people go, oh, you should never have an injection. I was all for having an injection. Let's see what this thing does. If this buys me 6 months to a year with better pain management, I'd be all in. Tried the injection, a guided injection right to the spot, and I had 3 days of 100% pain-free. I got some pain-free days, but then the problem is I only had 3 days. And when I met with my doctor after, he said, you know what? This tells me it's not going to get better. Another injection is not going to help you. It's time to give you a new hip. So after we decided, let's go ahead and do this hip surgery, I was given a lot of things I had to do, a lot of homework. First thing, I was given this multi-page handout all about the hip joint itself, the surgery, kind of a big summation of everything. And also, if you see up here, handwritten in is dual mobility. What that is the prosthesis that I'm getting. I'm really excited about this piece because the doc was explaining to me people that are going to be way more active, going to be using full ranges of motion with things and loading, this would be a great option. So I'm really excited about that. I was also given this booklet, which is kind of everything about leading up to the surgery, all the things that you need to do and get ready for, all about your pre-op appointments, what the surgery is going to be like, and then post-surgery, what recovery is going to be like, including things like how to manage getting socks on, how to manage getting your leg up on the bed, how to sleep with pillows surrounding you in a certain way so you don't roll over. All of those really helpful things. So there was actually a lot of really great information in both of these. The other thing, hold on for 1 second. Oh, I have to, there. Whew. I have to often sit like this. I started the whole video like this and here I am again. This is kind of my new position. It takes the pain out. So the other thing I had to do is I had to watch 3 videos. One was almost an hour long. And this one was a little bit of anatomy lesson with the hip joint, how it's connected, how it all works. And then they go into the hip replacement surgery in great detail. How they put the prosthesis in, how your bone kind of wraps around the stem, the whole 9 yards. It was super, super informative, but really long. The second video I had to watch was more just about ins and outs of the surgery day, all of that kind of thing. And then the third one was more about anesthesia. And I may have some anesthesia options, what they are, what the differences are, pros and cons, all of that kind of stuff. And I had to sign off saying I watched all of them. And that's kind of where I'm at this point. I've done all my homework. I have my first pre-op appointment coming up soon, so we will be taking you through as much of that as we can here. But yeah, that's kind of how they get you ready for a hip replacement. So the pain has been hard to deal with. It's daily now. There's no let up in pain. It's either at a 9-10 level or it's at a 3-4 level. 3-4 level is pretty manageable. 9-10 is not at all. And it makes it difficult to walk. It makes, whether it's on a treadmill, whether it's around my house, just functioning is difficult. It's also made it difficult if I get on the floor and I want to get up. I often have to really support myself in order to get up when the pain level's at a 9-10. And I'm always on the floor trying to play with the cat. So the pain level day to day is getting worse, not better. So just another indication that it's time to get a new hip. So I get asked all the time, what do my workouts look like? How am I training around this arthritis? What are my goals? What do I do for modifications? What exercises can I do? All of that. So I wanted to share just a little bit about what my workouts have looked like for probably the past year and a half. Before we get to the exercise stuff, I want you to meet Wilma. She's our newest addition to the family. She is from Kuwait, just like her big brother Frederick. She's got a little sassy streak in her, so she keeps Frederick in line. And in fact, I'm sure Frederick will be making an appearance in here soon because he is obsessed with Wilma. So this is Wilma. So with these workouts over the past year and a half, I started with a workout split of 4 times a week. Lower, upper. And during those lower body days, everything was single leg focused, everything. And I made a ton of progress because I stuck with this for like 6 months. And so I built everything up from literally nothing. Then we decided to switch up my programming just for a change. And we went to a push-pull legs format. Didn't like it at first, but grew to love it. And that leg day, again, primarily single leg focused exercises as well. I even added a hip kind of intensive day where it was a lot of hip focused exercises and hip rehab focused exercises. And so I was able to hit my hip a little bit more. Now I'm doing that same similar push-pull legs format, but here's the difference. I am hitting my hip every single day now. Some days it's just banded exercises just to keep the glutes lit up and firing. Sometimes it's more intensive strength exercises and stability exercises, but I'm hitting it every single day because again, my goal is I've got to keep these glutes on fire. I've got to keep building strength and stability up until surgery day, so recovery is easier. I've also been doing a lot on the elliptical. Every time I go to the gym, I'm on the elliptical at least 30 minutes. I've also done a lot of riding here on this bike because both of those feel really, really good. The bike doesn't always feel great, but most of the time I'm good. But the elliptical is like magic on my hip, so I try to access the elliptical as much as I can. One of my favorite exercises that I've been doing for the past year and a half has been the dead stop single leg RDL. This is so incredibly challenging because you have to control your body as you lower the kettlebell all the way to the floor. That alone is hard enough to do. But then you have to come back up from a dead stop on the floor. That is incredibly hard to do. I have loved this exercise. I've been able to progress it over time to increase weight, and I just love it. If you don't have it in your arsenal of exercises right now, you need to put it in there, like right now. So another exercise that I've really enjoyed doing over this period of time has been the single leg squat from a box. The idea here is that you elevate yourself up on something. I used a single plate, one of those big fat plates to start with. It's not very high. And you have one foot on that elevation, one leg off the elevation. And you're going to lower yourself down so that foot that's off the elevation can tap the floor and then you come back up. So the leg that's on the elevation is the one that's doing all the work. It's super challenging, a lot of stability required for this movement. And if I'm being really honest, my hip is sore a lot after I do this because it's worked so incredibly hard, but it's a price I'm willing to pay because I've improved a lot. As you can see from these videos, I'm improving the height. I started with one plate, I'm adding another, I add another, went to a small box. So it's working, right? But this is a fun exercise to do, and it's really fun to progress this one over time. So that was a single leg squat from a box. You can also do a single leg squat to a box, which is kind of the opposite. You're on the ground, you're lowering yourself down to a bench, to a box, something like that. I've been accessing lunges recently, which has been really good. Lunges have been super hard for me to access for some reason with my hip, but I've been able to do reverse lunges and have slowly added weight to them. I've also tried some deficit reverse lunges where I stand on something slightly elevated and lunge back. I've had a little bit of success with that, but lunges are becoming more of a regular thing that I've been doing leading up to surgery. So one of my favorite bilateral exercises that I've been doing is the 45-degree back extension, and I love it so much that I bought one for my house so I can do it all the time. What's cool about this exercise, my hip enjoys being in that extended position, supported extended position, and it also allows me to really load up this exercise. Like I can use heavy dumbbells, I can use kettlebells, I can use a barbell with plates on this exercise. And it's more convenient for me to do it at home. So I love having access to the 45-degree back extension. And by the way, you can get these things on Amazon and they're not expensive at all. And the one that I have from Stamina is super solid. So if you like this exercise, it might be worth a look. So I am full steam ahead on single leg exercises, hip strength, hip stability, all of that. And I've still been doing upper body, by the way, and that really hasn't been affected too much. Those workouts have been kind of going as normal. I've also added a bunch of more rehab kind of exercises that I've gotten from my movement doc here locally, Dr. Matt Clay, and from Dr. Caleb Burgess as well. I add those on a hip day where I add another workout day to my routine, and those exercises are pretty much what I do on my hip day. So there you have it. That's my workout plan, and I'm gonna keep doing this until I get to the other side of surgery. Okay, pre-op appointment day number 1, up on the 5th floor. Here we go. So I decided to take the stairs all the way up to the 5th floor because the elevator in this building takes forever, sometimes 10 minutes or more because it's stopping at every single floor. And even with my hip not being good at all, I can manage stairs pretty well most of the time. So up I go. So to save ourselves a little time from going up every single flight, let's speed this sucker up and get to the 5th floor so we can get this party started. So I have to be careful when I film down here, but I'm heading down to check in, and then I'm gonna end up right here in my exam room waiting for the nurse to come in. And that white bag up there, that's my bag of goodies for pre-op. Can't wait. So just had my pre-op appointment. They did an EKG, they did checks for MRSA, a gazillion questions, and then I was given this handout of about 10 pages long on all the things I need to do prior to surgery. I hope I don't screw any of that up. But anyway, step 1, pre-op number 1 done. I have another pre-op coming up in about a week, and that is with the surgeon, and then it's full steam ahead until March 4th. So wanted to do a little check-in 1 week out from surgery, and let me tell you, Surgery day cannot get here fast enough. I've had the absolute worst hip pain that I've had in a couple years. The past 24 hours, I have been unable to walk normally. I've been unable to sit in any kind of chair. I haven't been able to go up and down stairs. It's been awful, just to be perfectly honest. And there were times yesterday where I would just get so angry and frustrated, I wanted to throw things because I'm just so tired of this. I mean, this is the real life part of this, right? It sucks. It absolutely sucks. I know surgery is just around the corner. I'm praying for time to go by really fast this week. I'm a little paranoid about getting sick before surgery. That happened last time. So I'm playing it safe, working out at home, hanging out, and I hate that. I'm not a stay-at-home kind of girl. So all of this just added up to, but I know surgery's coming. I know it's gonna help, and I can't wait. Oh, and let me just show you something right here. My assistant, hard at work. So one thing that's starting to catch up with me here is the lack of sleep that I've been getting due to my hip. It's really causing me a lot of problems at night, and my sleep is interrupted all night long because of not being able to get comfortable. So I am struggling with being tired all the time now, and I'm walking here to the gym, sat in my car for a few minutes. I never do that, but I am so exhausted. And so I'm just gonna go in and do what I can today and try to get to bed early and see if I can get some sleep. So just finished my workout today. This was what I call my hip day, where I work exclusively on my hip. I pick about, I don't know, 3 or 4 exercises to do. I think today I did 4, maybe even 5. I think 4 exercises today, focusing on strength and stability of the hip. And my legs are shot. Both my hips are tired, my knees are tired. This happens every single time now that I work my hip. I kind of pay a little bit of a price afterwards, but it's something that I really feel like I have to suck up and just keep doing for the next 3 weeks. Okay, just had my last pre-op appointment with the surgeon. He walked me through kind of what the surgery day is gonna look like, how long it's gonna take, the whole process. Walked me through everything, answered a bunch of questions that I came with, had an updated x-ray done just so he can see it before he goes in there. And so it's game on now. I have 10 days before surgery, so my goal from here on is to stay healthy. So I'm staying at home. I'm not going to the gym. I'll be working out at home. Not going to jiu-jitsu this week. Just don't want to risk it. Hopefully stay healthy so I don't have to cancel again and get this hip replaced. Let's do this.